Welcome to Cars with Kasey, episode 10. Today's episode was going to be about the story of the production Corvette, but that episode is taking a long time to do as there are a lot of Corvettes to cover, so this episode is just going to be about why our car is important. This episode is also completely unscripted, but everyone knows that cars are important. They take up our everyday lives. Unless you're walking in the mountains or taking a backpacking trip or on some boat, chances are you are not going to go a single day without seeing a car in some form or another. In the United States, there are almost as many cars as there are people. Currently, there are around 340 million people in the US, and there are around 380 million cars that are registered. This does not count unregistered cars, of which there are probably many more. We use these cars to work, take us to work, or to do other stuff such as camping, go have fun on weekends, haul our families, stuff like that. We use them for just about everything we can think of that includes getting from one point to another. Cars are so ingrained to society that we make movies about them. We make movies about making cars, such as Ford v Ferrari or the Cars movie from Pixar. Cars are such a crucial part of society that even country by country, cars will be different. For example, American cars will be loud and proud, whereas German cars are complex and focused on maximum performance, and Japanese cars are focused even on change in design by time period. For example, prior to World War II, most cars were seen as just transport or just work vehicles. Most of them were just cars that would haul people from one place to another, or they were just trucks that would haul whatever they needed for work. But during World War II, the young men of America were exposed to sports cars overseas, and the American car market was never the same since. After that, they came home wanting exciting cars of their own, and those cars began appearing, most notably the Chevrolet Corvette. But there were other more everyday models, such as the Pontiac lineup or the Oldsmobile 88 and others. Cars quickly became more exciting and the muscle era began. In a time where the world was hopeful and beginning to look to the stars, cars followed suit. They began being styled as futuristic space vehicles, and people loved them. And as the space age begun and spaceships didn't look like those cars began finding their own identity, and cars stopped being styled after spaceships and they started being styled for their own personality. Cars would be styled after a specific personality in order to attract buyers of those personalities, and so the buyer's personality would match the car. But going into the early 70s, there was an oil crisis and other crises around the world, and the world became a little less hopeful. And with it, the cars entered what is known as the Malaise era. The cars became slow, their styling was not as popular, and cars just did not have the presence that they did a few years prior. But a few years later, when hope in the world rebounded, so did the cars. Cars became more impressively styled, they got faster again, and cars were more likely to fit the driver's personality rather than a few years before when options were few. As a new millennium approached, people became more nostalgic of the previous millennium. They became nostalgic of the 1960s, 1970s, and the golden age of muscle, and so muscle cars began being styled after those classic cars again. Designs like the Pontiac GTO concept look like the classic cars. The Mustang went back to a classic design. The Camaro went back to a classic design. The Pontiac Firebird was unfortunately discontinued altogether, and the GTO didn't actually have that design in production. The Corvette went back to a more classic design as well. And other cars were styled after older still models such as the Chrysler PT Cruiser or its Chevy rival. Even the trucks went back to being rounded such as the F-150 or the Dodge Ram. Even now, some cars are still getting more retro-style designs, such as the new Corvette ZR1, which features a split window in honor of the original C2 Corvette. Even the Mustang is getting a kit that will style it like the Fox body Mustangs of the 70s and 80s. In addition to Dodge and their controversial EV Charger, is going back to the liftback coupe design that was popular back then, and it is styled like an older muscle car. In recent years, when people are looking forward to the future for technology and what it can provide, so too are the cars. Cars are showing up with more and more digital touchscreens and technology-laden interiors. Not only that, they are coming out with more self-driving and autonomous and helpful features that will make the car even more technologically powerhoused. But there's more than cars just following the trends of society. In fact, driving a car slow or driving the wrong car for you can have mental health effects. Driving a car slowly can lead to stress, fatigue, anxiety, and other symptoms like that. Driving the wrong car can make the driver frustrated, and that can lead into other parts of life or leave lasting impressions on the rest of the day. So cars are important because they are part of your everyday life. They will take care of anything in transport, and they will match your personality if you get the right one. If you enjoyed this episode, keep in mind that you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram under the Cars with Kasey name. And on Instagram and YouTube, I can be found under the username Tavling Appa. That's Tavling Appa, APA. I've enjoyed talking to you in this episode, and I look forward to talking to you in the next.